Part 23. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 223. Everyone, cover the Straw Hat Kid. Whitebeard saw Luffy running towards the execution platform, so he said to his sons. The Whitebeard pirates and Levi's ship group have held back most of the Marines' combat power. Luffy has been so unstoppable that all the Marines have been knocked away by him. At this moment, a green sword energy cut off Luffy's path, and Hawkeye blocked Luffy again. Just give me Hawkeye. A bald man came to Luffy. This was Crocodile's subordinate M1 Boss Danis. Thank you very much. Luffy laughed and ran forward. This is the order of our boss. After MRL said that, his arm turned into a blade. His nickname is Swordsman Nemesis, largely because of his quick-cut fruit. His fruit can not only make his body as strong as gold and iron, but also his arms are indestructible. This is what he relies on to resist the world's greatest swordsman. But he was doomed to fail today. As a splash of blood splattered on his chest, a horrific wound was cut on his chest by Hawkeye's black knife. Just when Eagle Eye was about to draw his sword again, Sand Crocodile appeared in front of Eagle Eye with a gloomy face. His men were injured by Hawkeye's slashes, and he felt very unhappy. The two of them fought together without saying a word. Crocodile was originally fighting Doflamingo, but now that Crocodile is fighting Hawkeye, he is freed up. Doflamingo, let me be your opponent. Lugo's figure appeared in front of Doflamingo. Since Lugo escaped from Doflamingo's hands, Lugo has been practicing hard. It was only recently that he finally felt that he was qualified to fight Doflamingo. Isn't this Lugo? My red heart is still reserved for you. Doflamingo smiled at Lugo. I appreciate your kindness, but I know you are thinking about my up fruit. I smiled at Doflamingo. After that, the two started fighting at the same time. Lightning, it's up to you now, Ivankov shouted to Imazuna. Imazuna's hands turned into two pairs of scissors. His scissors cut the road, and then a road was paved directly to the execution platform. Ace, I'm here to save you. Luffy let out a loud roar, and then he punched all the Marines who were coming towards him. At this moment, Garp's majestic figure appeared in front of Luffy. Grandpa, get out of the way, Luffy yelled at Garp. I'm a Marine, how can I let pirates pass here? I was already fighting pirates before you were born. If you want to pass, just knock me down, Luffy, Garp shouted at Luffy. Luffy looked at Garp steadily, he didn't know what to do. The two argued for a long time on the execution platform, and finally Garp shouted righteously, Luffy, if you want to pass here, you have to step over my door. Garp said, raising his fist, which was as powerful as Admiral's fist. This is the fist that repeatedly forces Pirate King Gold Roger into desperate situations. Wow! Luffy ignored him and punched Garp. Luffy was a little faster than Garp. He punched Garp in the face. Garp spit out a mouthful of blood and went straight to the execution platform. Vice Admiral Garp. The Marines all cried out in worry. Garp has always been the symbol of Marines' undefeated status, and this was the first time he was defeated. Is Luffy that powerful? Of course not. Anyone who understands can tell that Garp has lost his temper. This guy Garp. Crane Vice Admiral sighed. She knew Garp's difficulties, so she was too embarrassed to accuse him. Old man, I'm sorry. Sengoku sighed, and then walked towards the execution platform. Although Luffy was Garp's grandson, Sengoku represented justice, and he would not let the justice behind him be shamed. Sengoku's figure became golden, and his body also became many times larger. This is Sengoku's devil fruit, the Buddha form of the everyone fruit. This guy Sengoku is finally going to take action. Levi's eyes flashed with excitement. Levi had only seen Sengoku take action once, and that was the time when Golden Lion made a fuss about Melindo. Now Luffy has found the key to the sea stone from the fallen executioner. he is about to unlock the handcuffs in front of Ace when Sengoku's palms are raised. Careful, Luffy. Ace saw Sengoku's move and knocked Luffy down. Boom. With the release of Sengoku's shockwave, the entire execution platform collapsed. The sea stone key that Luffy just fought for was also knocked away. Kizaru's eyes flashed with golden light, his fingers flashed with golden light, and a ray of light shot toward the sea stone key. Apparently he was preparing to destroy the key. How could Levi let him do this? A bolt of lightning flashed, and eventually the lightning and laser light were cancelled out. 250. Luffy, that's it? Sengoku's body glowed with golden light, and then he punched Luffy with his fist. Luffy crawled out of the execution platform in disgrace. He saw Sengoku rushing towards him, and he looked back at Ace behind him. Finally, he bit his finger and blew in fiercely. As Luffy's fist collided with Sengoku's fist, Luffy flew away with Ace's body again. Ace's eyes glanced at the sea stone key beside him, so he took the key in his hand with great effort and continued to tinker with it. Now Akainu and Whitebeard were fighting, Lin was fighting Kizaru, and Marco was fighting Aokiji, so they didn't notice Ace's little move. You just know how to mess around. At this time, a pillar of fire appeared in mid-air, and a passage appeared in the pillar of fire. You have always been like this before, Luffy, always attracting attention. You always ignored my words. Seeing this situation, the pirates below burst into cheers. Ace is rescued. Whitebeard's eyes were slightly startled. Ace. In mid-air, Luffy cried out the name with tears streaming down his face, and then a happy smile appeared on his face. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 224. Now is not the time to relax, Luffy. Ace looked around and saw that Marine's vice admirals were already surrounding them. Fire ring, fire pillar. As Ace shouted, a dazzling pillar of fire hit Marine like a rain of fire and meteors. Come on, Luffy. Ace took Luffy's arm and headed towards Whitebeard. Now that the Whitebeard pirates had suffered enough casualties, he could not let the casualties expand further. Fire punch. Ace dragged Luffy with his left hand, and swung his right fist forward. The crimson flames burned half of the sky red, and all the Marines who came to snipe Ace were knocked away by him. Good job, Ace. The pirates who were fighting saw Ace killing everyone as soon as he got out of trouble, and they encouraged him loudly. It's not in vain that they risked their lives to save Ace, it was all worth it. We can't let them escape and sentence them all to death, Sengoku shouted loudly to the two escaping brothers. After that, Sengoku's shockwave went towards Ace and Luffy. When they were about to be hit, a slash cut Sengoku's shockwave in half. Levi, what are you going to do? Sengoku's anger was about to reach the sky. This was the first time he saw such a hateful pirate. I want to fight you, Marshal Sengoku. Levi sheathed the 7-star sword. His body has been tempered to ultimate, and now he wants to see if his body can withstand Sengoku's attack. Buddha's shockwave. Sengoku's hand sent out an unprecedented shockwave. Levi put his arms in front of him. The shockwave had pushed him back more than 10 meters, leaving a groove of more than 10 meters in the entire square. Then the flames and ice collided, ice and flames collided, and countless water vapor filled the air, making Ace's surroundings unclear. Marine heard Sengoku's order and attacked Ace, but their strength was too weak, and Marine flew away under the fists of Luffy and Ace. Don't be too arrogant, Levi. Garp, who had been knocked out by Luffy, immediately stood up. His fist swung at Levi. Squard, my stupid son. Whitebeard shook his head helplessly. He knew Squard's plan, but as a father, how could he bear to let his son die for his father? I, Whitebeard, are still alive, and I cannot tolerate any son dying before me, Zhao Zhao. Now that our goal has been achieved, I will issue another captain's order with the order of the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, and everyone will retreat. Violent pheasant mouth. Dad, what's the last thing? What you said is so unlucky. Marco smiled stiffly at Whitebeard. As the oldest son who followed Whitebeard, he knew Whitebeard best. He knew what Whitebeard's words meant. What looks like? With a seriously injured body and a 70-year-old age, he can still hold a large ship with one hand. Whitebeard is really a monster with infinite strength. All the Marines were shocked. They did not expect Whitebeard to be so terrifying. At this moment, the large ship that was still moving suddenly stopped. No matter how the power engine roared, the large ship did not move at all. Daddy, don't we say that we want to return to New World together? Marshal Sengoku, don't hold back, keep going, Levi challenged Sengoku. Don't let Straw Hat and Ace go. The Marines changed their colors one after another, but none of them had heavy equipment in their hands. They could only watch the ship getting closer and closer. As expected of Whitebeard, Levi couldn't help but sigh. No wonder Whitebeard is called the strongest man in the world. Levi can see Haki in his youth from his current behavior. Fire mirror. Aokiji let out a loud roar, and then a big bird made entirely of ice flew towards Ace. Everything along the way was covered in ice. Sengoku yelled at the Marines, and then he attacked Levi again. Levi felt Garp's terrifying aura, and he punched Garp without hesitation. The moment the two fists met, time seemed to have stopped. At the moment when Levi and Garp were in a stalemate, Sengoku also came towards Levi from behind. In his eyes, Lin's threat now far exceeded that of Whitebeard. Whitebeard and Ace were no longer important. He was now going to kill Levi. Killed at Marineford. The captains of the Whitebeard pirates are full of sadness. They know that their most respectful dad, the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, is about to leave, and then the Whitebeard pirates has no Whitebeard. Stop them quickly. Ace's eyes flashed, and flames suddenly ignited on his body, and then a huge flame covered his figure. Boom. At this moment, the whale-shaped pirate ship appeared in Marineford Square. This ship could actually walk on land. Dad, Ace, everyone run away quickly. I will be responsible for cutting off the rear. Skyard stood on the bow of the ship and shouted. He listened to Marine's bewitchment and stabbed his father. Now, he was prepared to pay for his sins with his life. How is this possible? Is this guy's body a monster? Sengoku was also completely shocked. Even Kaido didn't dare to take the blow. He didn't expect Levi to be able to take the blow. There was a hint of the shocking news is that Levi's physique has already surpassed Kaido's. Skyard really chose the stupidest method. Marco also noticed his actions. Daddy, let's go together. Uncle Levi is so strong. With Levi at the center, a huge circular pit half a meter deep appeared under his feet. This was the abnormality caused by him removing the force from Garp's fist. Squard let out a loud roar. He saw a scene that moved him beyond measure. Whitebeard actually towed the big ship with one hand. What's going on? It seems like the boat is stuck on something. A pirate wondered. Luffy watched in amazement as Levi fought against his grandfather Garp and Sengoku at the same time. This was the first time he saw Levi take action, and he was shocked as soon as he made a move. Whitebeard's words shocked all the pirates. When they listened to Whitebeard's words, they all had a very ominous premonition in their hearts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 225. I am the remnant of this era, and the new era will no longer ride on my ship. Whitebeard laughed, and he looked back at the sea. As the Moby Dick, which he had fought with for many years, was also buried in the sea, he knew that this was his burial place. Whitebeard thought back to when he was on the Rocks pirate, when he was an outlier on the ship. At that time, his companions asked him, "Pirates are not interested in treasure, so what do you want?" "Family." Whitebeard replied. He was born in a non-franchised country that suffered from turmoil. He suffered from slave traders and pirates since he was a child. He had already gone to sea when he was a child, so he had always longed to have a family, which became his lifelong pursuit. So many years have passed in the blink of an eye, the Whitebeard Pirates have become the #1 pirate group in the world, and he has also gained so many sons. He has been very happy for so many years, and now everything should be over. It's been such a long journey, just like a dream, Whitebeard sighed. Whitebeard's eyes returned to coldness, and then a white circle of light appeared above his fist. He swung his fist violently at 550 degrees, and with a burst of air, the wall in front of him shattered. Whitebeard exerted a strong force, and he pushed the big ship towards the outside of the naval headquarters. "Dad, no." Looking at Whitebeard, who strode decisively towards naval headquarters, Skyard let out a loud cry. As Whitebeard punched the air in front of them, all the Marines were shocked to find that the naval headquarters building shattered in an instant, and the plaque with "Justice" written on it was also smashed to the ground by Whitebeard. "Ah! Marineford is in danger." All the Marines there were shouting like frightened birds. "Hey, he really plans to destroy this island. Stop Whitebeard." Of course, the Marines would not let Whitebeard continue to act recklessly. I don't know how many soldiers rushed this way again. "Dad." The captain and captains are still calling Dad, hoping he can come back. "We can't leave Dad behind. If we want him back, we'll have to get up and go back." Whitebeard turned back to his son and shouted sternly, "Do you want to disobey the captain's order? Leave quickly. Silly sons. Bombard Whitebeard, he is already dying." The soldiers behind aimed their guns and cannons at each other. Whitebeard, bullets and cannonballs were fired one after another. Whitebeard swung his knife suddenly, bullets and cannonballs flew through. The crowd seemed to be frozen in the air, and then exploded one after another. "Dad," one of the captains had already burst into tears. He saw his father fighting to the death to block the sea for them. The army wanted to go up and help, even if they had to die together. Suddenly a captain pressed his shoulders and said, "Go quickly, this is Dad's order. Everyone listen to Dad. Get ready to sail and set sail." Although a captain said this, his heart felt like a knife. Looking at Whitebeard's fighting figure, Marco was in a daze. "Marco, go quickly," the other pirates urged. "Marshal Sengoku." A sergeant major who was responsible for delivering the order ran over and asked for instructions on the next step. "He's not worried about Ace now, he wants to sink the entire Marineford and perish with himself. Look over there, Whitebeard is showing off Kamui, Sengoku. His face is not very pretty. Everyone, hurry up and run to the coastline and get ready to sail. You can't let the pirates run away. Attack them. Everyone killed counts as one." Throughout the Marineford battlefield, Marines and pirates were in chaos. "Your opponent, I am the only one. Whitebeard doesn't know when those will arrive." Behind Marine, who was blocking the pirates, to Marine, the big sword in his hand was like a life-threatening Shinigami. With just one wave, it's like a strong wind. Like a huge wave, the Marines were almost blown into the sky. Whitebeard's desperate blocking indeed relieved a lot of pressure on the pirates. The ice cubes on Diamond Kiazi's body were broken, and he was frozen by King Gui just now. 0. "What about you, Captain?" Lugo asked curiously. He saw that Levi had no intention of retreating. "Koo-la-la-la-la," hearing Ace's words. "Let's go, Uncle Whitebeard has already made his choice." Luffy was afraid that Ace would make a fool of himself if he went back, so he quickly dissuaded him. After Ace finished speaking, he rushed over, and the high-temperature fist swept over, blasting away a piece of marine like it was destroying everything. Fire punch. The other side. Levi had finished the battle with Garp and Whitebeard. He saw the pirates beginning to retreat, so he said to Lugo, "Let our people retreat together. Braham, quickly carry Captain Jaws down to rest. You all get out of my way." They saw Ace running towards Whitebeard and shouted in unison. "Straw Hat, Ace, what are you doing standing here?" Ivankov said. "Boss, what should we do if the Whitebeard pirates begin to withdraw?" Trafalgar Law came over with Ghost crying on his shoulders. "Captain Jaws, are you okay?" Ace turned around and joined Luffy and the others. "One is one, this is also Dad's wish." At this moment, the blue fat man's eyes were full of seriousness. Whitebeard spoke slowly, "I am an old man." As he spoke, Whitebeard's unique knowing laughter echoed throughout Marineford. Kiyo's expression was as usual, it seemed like there was nothing wrong with him. Ace burst into tears and knocked his head on the ground. His voice shook the entire Marineford, "Of course. No need to say more, I just want to ask you one thing, Ace." Ace's face was solemn, "I understand, I won't let Dad's efforts go to waste." "Lugo, this war has just begun," Levi laughed at Lugo. Whitebeard glanced over with his peripheral vision and saw Ace coming over, kneeling down directly to him. Ace didn't speak, just kneeling like this. "Their target is you, live 3 more years." Luffy said in shock, "Jinbei, won't you run with us?" Then Ace wiped his tears and looked at Beard as a farewell. If a man has the consciousness of dying in battle, then any sympathy can only be humiliating to him. "Run quickly. Run to the ship." "Dad, are you qualified enough for this job? What a life-threatening situation." Ace. Jinbei also hurried over and protected everyone. "Luffy, Ace, you run in front." Pirates, check in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 226. I am the remnant of this era, and the new era will no longer ride on my ship. Whitebeard laughed, and he looked back at the sea. As the Moby Dick, which he had fought with for many years, was also buried in the sea, he knew that this was his burial place. Whitebeard thought back to when he was on the Rocks Pirate, when he was an outlier on the ship. At that time, his companions asked him, "Pirates are not interested in treasure, so what do you want?" "Family." Whitebeard replied. He was born in a non-franchised country that suffered from turmoil. He suffered from slave traders and pirates since he was a child. He had already gone to sea when he was a child, so he had always longed to have a family, which became his lifelong pursuit. So many years have passed in the blink of an eye, the Whitebeard Pirates have become the #1 pirate group in the world, and he has also gained so many sons. He has been very happy for so many years, and now everything should be over. It's been such a long journey, just like a dream, Whitebeard sighed. Whitebeard's eyes returned to coldness, and then a white circle of light appeared above his fist. His fist was violently swung out, and with a burst of air, the wall in front of him shattered. Whitebeard pushed hard, and he pushed the big ship towards the outside of the Marine headquarters. "Dad, no." Looking at Whitebeard, who strode decisively towards naval headquarters, Skyard let out a loud cry. As Whitebeard punched the air in front of them, all the Marines were shocked to find that the naval headquarters building shattered in an instant, and the plaque with justice written on it was also smashed to the ground by Whitebeard. "Ah! Marineford is in danger." All the Marines there were shouting like frightened birds. "Hey, he really plans to destroy this island. Stop Whitebeard." Of course, the Marines would not let Whitebeard continue to act recklessly. I don't know how many soldiers rushed this way again. "Dad." The captain and captains are still calling Dad, hoping he can come back. "We can't leave Dad behind." If we want him back, we'll have to get up and go back. Whitebeard turned back to his son and shouted sternly, "Do you want to disobey the captain's order? Leave quickly. Silly sons. Bombard Whitebeard, he is already dying." The soldiers behind aimed their guns and cannons at each other. Whitebeard, bullets, and cannonballs were fired one after another. Whitebeard swung his knife suddenly, bullets and cannonballs flew through. The crowd seemed to be frozen in the air, and then exploded one after another. Dad, one of the captains had already burst into tears. He saw his father fighting to the death to block the sea for them. The army wanted to go up and help, even if they had to die together. Suddenly a captain pressed his shoulders and said, "Hurry up, this is Dad's order. Everyone listen to Dad. Get ready to sail and set sail." Although a captain said this, his heart felt like a knife. Looking at Whitebeard's fighting figure, Marco was in a daze. "Marco, go quickly," the other pirates urged. "Marshal Sengoku." A sergeant major who was responsible for delivering the order ran over and asked for instructions on the next step. "He's not worried about Ace now, he wants to sink the entire Marineford and perish with himself. Look over there, Whitebeard is showing off Kamui, Sengoku. His face is not very pretty. Everyone, hurry up and run to the coastline and prepare to sail. You can't let the pirates run away. Attack them. Everyone killed counts as one." Throughout the Marineford battlefield, Marines and pirates were in chaos. "Your opponent, I am the only one. Whitebeard doesn't know when those will arrive." Behind Marine, who was blocking the pirates, to Marine, the big sword in his hand was like a life-threatening Shinigami. With just one wave, it's like a strong wind. Like a huge wave, the Marines were almost blown into the sky. Whitebeard's desperate blocking indeed relieved a lot of pressure on the pirates. The ice cubes on Diamond Kiazi's body were broken, and he was frozen by King Gui just now. "Captain Jaws, are you okay? Ace. You all get out of my way. Dad, are you qualified enough for this job? Fire punch. Their goal is for you to live one more life." They saw Ace running towards Whitebeard and shouted in unison. Ace burst into tears and knocked his head on the ground. His voice shook the entire Marineford, of course. As he spoke, Whitebeard's unique knowing laughter echoed throughout Marineford. "Koo-la-la-la-la," hearing Ace's words. "Braham, hurry up and carry Captain's down to rest." Kiazi's expression was as usual, it seemed like there was nothing wrong with him. Levi had finished the battle with Garp and Whitebeard. He saw the pirates beginning to retreat, so he said to Lugo, "Let our people retreat together." What a life-threatening situation. Whitebeard glanced over with his peripheral vision and saw Ace coming over, kneeling down directly to him. "Lugo, this war has just begun," Levi laughed at Lugo. "One is one, this is also Dad's wish." At this moment, the blue fat man's eyes were full of seriousness. Ace's face was solemn. "I understand, I won't let Dad's efforts go to waste." Luffy said in shock, "Jinbei, won't you run with us?" "No need to say more, I just want to ask you one thing, Ace." After Ace said that, he rushed over, and the high-temperature fist swept past, like destroying the dead, flying to Marine. Jinbei also hurried over and protected everyone. "Luffy, Ace, you run in front." "What about you, Captain?" Lugo asked curiously. He saw that Levi had no intention of retreating. Whitebeard spoke slowly, "I am an old man. Beard as a farewell." "Boss, what should we do if the Whitebeard pirates begin to withdraw?" Trafalgar Law came over with Ghost crying on his shoulders. Ace didn't speak, just kneeling like this. "Straw Hat, Ace, what are you doing standing here?" Ivankov said. "Zero. Please give me flowers." "The other side." Ace turned around and joined Luffy and the others. Then Ace wiped his tears and looked at Bai. Let's go, Uncle Whitebeard has already made his choice. Luffy was afraid that Ace would make a fool of himself if he went back, so he quickly dissuaded him. If a man has the consciousness of dying in battle, then any sympathy can only be humiliating to him. Run quickly. Run to the ship. Pirates, check in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 227. On the execution platform, Garp, who was originally very peaceful, now had a ferocious look on his face. His eyes were fixed on Ace, who was pierced by Akainu's fist, and his feet were constantly moving forward. "Hey, Garp, what are you doing?" Jean noticed something strange about Garp, and he hurriedly came to Garp's side and asked. "Sengoku, stop me, or I will uncontrollably kill Sakazuki," Garp whispered to Sengoku, with murderous intent in his eyes. Sengoku knew that Garp was not joking now, so he quickly pushed Garp's head to the ground. "Yes, just hold me down like this, or I will really kill him." Garp's voice was full of pain. Ace was given to Garp by Roger, the Pirate King. Garp has always regarded Ace as his grandson, and he also wants to treat him as his grandson, thinking that 607 will train him into a marine. Unexpectedly, fate played a trick on people, and his two grandsons eventually became pirates, and they were also rising pirate stars. Although Garp had a headache looking at his two grandsons, he never thought that one day one of his grandsons would die in Ace's hands. Sengoku also looked at his old friend with heartache. At this moment, when Akainu was killing Ace, he looked at Luffy again, and he strode towards Luffy. "That's it, Akainu." Jinbei's figure suddenly appeared in front of Akainu, and his huge figure had blocked Luffy. "Are you going to stop me too?" "Jinbei," Akainu stared coldly at Jinbei in front of him. To be honest, Akainu didn't have a good impression of the Shishibukai pirates. If it weren't for the world government, Shishibukai would need them to maintain the order of the sea and to balance four emperors. Akainu wants to kill all these big pirates. Stop it. Enough people have died now. Now that Ace is dead, your goal has been achieved, Jinbei said to Akainu. It's not enough, it's far from enough. All of this is caused by you nasty pirates. I can only destroy you all, Akainu said to Jinbei. Ace, wake up. Luffy held Ace in his arms. He carefully covered the huge scar on Ace's back. Now his body was covered with blood and his hands were trembling. He didn't expect that Ace had been rescued. In the end, he died on the battlefield. "Luffy, I'm so sorry." Ace said softly to Luffy. He knew that he would not survive. He had failed Whitebeard's father and everyone's hopes. "Don't say such things, Ivankov, come and save him, Ace is about to die." Luffy turned his head and said to Ivankov in a trembling voice. "Luffy, Ace is hopeless," Ivankov said to Luffy. Now Ace is holding on with his breath. If he loses his temper, he will die immediately. "You're talking nonsense. Ace is still alive now. Can't you even save a country that is seriously ill?" "Please save him," Luffy said to Ivankov tremblingly, tears streaming down his face. "Luffy, stop embarrassing him. I'm very happy in my life to be brothers with you and Sabo. And I'm going to find Sabo. Don't worry about me." Blood continued to overflow from the corners of Ace's mouth, and memories came back to his eyes. He recalled the time when he, Sabo and Luffy were not at sea. "Luffy, I'm sorry that I can't see you become the Pirate King, but I believe you will do it." Ace could hardly open his eyes. Ace's eyes looked at Marco and others again. Now because he was seriously injured by Akainu, Marco and others rushed over. "Ace, it was my brother's dereliction of duty for not protecting you. I'm really sorry." Marco's eyes were full of sadness. He knew Ace was a very impulsive person, but he didn't watch him. "No, Captain Marco, I am very happy to be able to call Whitebeard my father and be your brother in this life. Thank you all for taking care of me during this time. I have really caused you trouble. Ace laughed softly, and then his arm holding Luffy suddenly dropped, and his head rested on Luffy's shoulder. Ace, don't fall asleep. Luffy carefully looked down at the life card, only to see that Ace's life card, which had only a few sparks left, was completely burned to ashes. Ace this time is completely dead. Ace. Luffy's wails echoed throughout Marineford, and everyone heard his cries. Marco and others were also wiping away their tears. Afterwards, Luffy spit out a large mouthful of blood and collapsed completely. Now Jinbei and Akainu are fighting together. This is a war between water and fire. Jinbei is in danger under Akainu's attack. If it were not for the fact that it is backed by the sea, Jinbei would have been killed long ago. Akainu Admiral, watch your back. At this moment, Marine's horrified voice sounded, and a huge shadow covered him. You dare to kill my son? It's really unforgivable, Akainu. Whitebeard's voice sounded from behind Akainu. When Ace was seriously injured by Chi, Whitebeard had already noticed it. He was constantly moving in the direction of Akainu, and now he finally came to Akainu's side. Boom! Whitebeard's arm slammed Akainu's head to the ground, and with a muffled sound, even the swords and guns on the ground were smashed. When Whitebeard pressed Akainu to the ground, a stream of red lava shot out from Whitebeard's arms toward his body. 3.0. A white halo appeared above Whitebeard's fist, and then his arm hit Akainu's head hard. The air map cracked like a mirror, and the ruins of the naval headquarters building became even more broken. Even Sengoku himself, the justice of writing, is also destroyed. Fortunately, Akainu dodged quickly and Whitebeard's fist hit his lower back, but he was still vomiting blood. Let's all fight against Dad together. When Marco saw Whitebeard coming back, he couldn't help but said excitedly that all the pirates were rushing towards Whitebeard. At this moment, Whitebeard's naginata was swung with light, and he slashed hard behind himself. Suddenly, a huge ravine appeared behind Whitebeard. His sword actually split the entire Marineford square in half. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 228. Teach, you have always had a fatal flaw, that is, you are too arrogant. Although you have been hiding your capabilities and biding your time in the Whitebeard pirates, you have never doubted your own judgment. Whitebeard looked at Blackbeard, who was rolling on the ground. He was like looking at a clown. This was the first time he hated a person so much. Whitebeard's big hands grabbed Blackbeard's collar and lifted Blackbeard up directly. Dad, stop it, do you really want to kill your former son? Blackbeard wailed at Whitebeard. Whitebeard remained unmoved at all, veins popped out on his arms, and he slammed Blackbeard's head to the ground. Boom! With a loud noise, Blackbeard's head immediately smashed a big crater into the ground, and spider-web-like cracks continued to split with Blackbeard's head as the center. Blackbeard's head was immediately bleeding. You old guy, can't you die happily? Kill him quickly, Blackbeard yelled at Whitebeard. Blackbeard gave an order, and his men all pulled out their spears and shot at Whitebeard for 15 seconds. Get out of my way. With a flash of lightning, Levi's figure appeared in front of Whitebeard. He didn't want Whitebeard to die in the hands of these weaklings. It would be such a pity. Levi kid, the butcher doesn't need your help, Ryuza glanced at Ji-Wei and said. This old guy is still tough talking, and now Levi feels that this old guy is unexpectedly cute. Whitebeard, this war has not yet reached its peak, you don't want to die now, Levi said, looking at the scarred Whitebeard. What do you mean? Whitebeard was stunned. Looking at Levi, it was clear that he knew something, but now Ace is dead, and Whitebeard is almost at the end of his life. Ha 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 ha, Whitebeard, you old guy, why can't you die obediently? Blackbeard smiled at Whitebeard. While Whitebeard was talking to Levi, Blackbeard took the opportunity to break free from Whitebeard's restraint and escape. "Levi, you kid, you're so small." At this moment, a huge black shadow came behind Levi with terrifying power. Levi seemed to have expected it, and he punched the black shadow behind him with his right arm. Boom! Levi's fist collided heavily with the shadow's fist. The moment their fists clashed, strong winds flew in all directions, making Marineford, which was already in a mess, even more chaotic. "This is..." Sengoku, Garp and Marine Admiral all had horrified looks in their eyes. Obviously they also knew this dark figure. "It's really scary. I didn't expect this monster to appear here." Kizaru said his mantra again, but he obviously didn't mean to make fun of him this time, and his eyes were solemn now. "It's actually this monster," Sengoku and Garp were both muttering to themselves. "Why is he here, Bullet?" After waiting for the wind to dissipate, Marco could see the man clearly. He murmured to the blond man opposite Levi. He had fought against the Pirate King Roger countless times. As the Pirate King, the left hand of the man in front of him was also Whitebeard. The pirate group caused countless casualties. Naturally, he was deeply impressed by this guy. This guy's strength is extremely terrifying. I'm afraid only monsters like Levi can rival him in the sea now. It seems that I came at the right time. For a monster like Whitebeard, only I, Barrett, can kill him." Bullet laughed at Whitebeard. There was endless confidence in his smile. After he escaped from Impel Down, he started practicing hard on an uninhabited island in the New World. After 10 years, after practicing hard, Barreto was convinced that he was finally invincible. After he saw Sengoku's declaration, he rushed to Marineford. "Are you even here to take my head?" Whitebeard laughed. Unexpectedly, Bullet was also interested in his head. Whitebeard was also very happy to be remembered by such a powerful enemy. "I didn't expect that after I was imprisoned, so many strong men appeared on the sea. I am really excited when I think that I will kill you all today." Bullet smiled at the Shishibukai. "I didn't expect this guy to actually show up." Rayleigh saw the strong man on the live broadcast screen on Sabayati Archipelago filled with emotion. His eyes were full of memories, and he remembered the days when he and Bullet fought together. That was really an unforgettable time. "How arrogant, Bullet," Doflamingo laughed softly. "They are the strongest pirates under the 4 emperors, and this is the first time they have seen such a loud pirate." Although they had all heard the legend of Bullet, except for Barak Dar, none of the Shishibukai present had ever fought against Bullet. "Bullet, long time no see." Crocodile also smiled at Bullet. After Barreto left Roger's ship, he became a rookie pirate. At that time, Crocodile had an endless battle with Barreto 377. The victory or defeat was determined, and this made Crocodile famous. Bullet smiled at Crocodile, and then his body suddenly appeared in front of the sand crocodile. As his fist fell, the sand crocodile immediately turned into a handful of quicksand and disappeared. "Still so reckless, you guy," Crocodile's figure condensed in the distance. His gloomy face looked at Bullet who had gone away. He also felt heavy in his heart. The current Bullet was too strong, making him feel there was a tremor in my heart. After Bullet punched Crocodile, his figure appeared in front of Doflamingo. Doflamingo was arrogant just now, so Bullet went to him directly. 5 color strings. 5 threads of different colors appeared in Doflamingo's hand. He had been using observation haki to sense Bullet's movement. When Bullet appeared, he used the thread in his hand to cut towards Bullet's fist. Looking at Doflamingo's movements, the corners of Bullet's mouth curled up again. His fist did not dodge and went directly towards Doflamingo. When Doflamingo's 5 color strings touched the front of Bullet's fist, it was hit by his fist. The wind of the punch was blown away, and Doflamingo received a heavy punch in the abdomen. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 229. Doflamingo's spider web was shattered by Barretto's blow, and his figure was smashed into the ruins in an instant. Bullet didn't even use haki, he just used physical strength to knock Doflamingo away. This guy is really scary. Hancock's brows furrowed. This was the first time she had seen a guy who could cultivate his body to such an extent. It seemed that this guy was so arrogant for a reason. When Bullet crossed the sea, Hancock had not yet left Nine Snake Island. While Hancock was thinking, Bullet's figure appeared in front of the bear. He actually shattered the laser that came out of the bear's mouth. When his fist was about to hit the bear, a huge one appeared in front of the bear. Meatball, Bullet knocked the bear away with one punch, but the bear was not injured at all. 7 warlords of the sea, nothing more. Bullet burst out laughing in the audience, his laughter was so arrogant. This is Bullet, the descendant of the devil. Marine recognized this man, and they remembered how terrifying this man was. In order to capture him, Marine used 2 buster calls to finally drain him of his physical strength. It's over, this guy is back now, and he's even stronger than he was then. Because of Bullet's disturbance, the entire battlefield is now in chaos. The Marine admirals launched an attack on the Shichibukai and the pirates at the same time. The Shichibukai also began to fight back. The most spectacular scene appeared in Marineford, the most active battle on the entire sea. Nearly half of the peak combat power appeared here. This is the fight I want. Levi also laughed. He had been invincible for too long. Now with so many strong men fighting together, he felt the long-lost passion. As he fought with all his strength, the scope of the entire battlefield became larger and larger. At this moment, the expressions of all the combatants changed drastically at the same time, and they all felt the aura of Ryebeard begin to disappear. Levi looked in shock. Now Whitebeard had been beaten to death by Blackbeard, and his body was still standing. Dad. Marco and others had already burst into tears. Their father refused to let them participate in the war. They watched Whitebeard being beaten to death. Their heartache was simply indescribable. People all over the world looked at the scene in horror. Everyone witnessed the scene with their own eyes. Whitebeard Edward Newgate, known as the strongest man in the world, fell in Marineford. Dad. Some pirates wanted to snatch Whitebeard's body back, but they were held back by other pirates. Now let's start my performance. Blackbeard gave a weird smile, and then he covered Whitebeard's body with a black cloth. What do they want to do? Marco looked very angry. He did not expect that after Whitebeard died, he would have to accept the humiliation of Blackbeard. At this moment, Blackbeard got into the black cloth, and then Blackbeard's subordinates all had pervert smiles on their faces. Obviously they were also looking forward to this scene. After a while, Blackbeard's figure emerged from under the black cloth, and he burst out laughing as soon as he came out. Ha ha ha, thief, let me show you my new power. The secret path. Blackbeard let out a loud shout, then slapped his hand on the ground, and a trail of darkness spread out in all directions with Blackbeard as the center. Then, Blackbeard made a gesture that made everyone stunned. A white ball of light appeared above his fist, and then the air shattered like air. How can it be? That's Shockfruit's ability. Why does Blackbeard still use it? This was the first time Sengoku encountered such a situation. He was stunned for a moment. It was the first time he saw such a situation. A person could actually use it. Gain the bonus of 2 devil fruit abilities. A person can only eat 1 devil fruit, and if he eats more, he will be fried to death, but Blackbeard broke this iron rule today. Blackbeard raised his hands, and there was a burst of uncontrollable ecstasy on his face. While his left hand was emitting black smoke, his right hand was also emitting a white halo. The 2 abilities complemented each other, and the people fighting were also shocked and speechless. Ha 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 ha, the power of darkness that can devour everything. and the power of shock that destroys everything. My plan is finally completed, I will become the king of the mind world. Blackbeard laughed wildly. He had been dormant on Whitebeard's ship for so many years, and he finally got everything he wanted. Get out of the way, don't block the road. In the way. At this moment, the battle group of Levi and others came towards Blackbeard, and he was beaten several times in an instant. By the time the battle group left, Blackbeard was already lying on the ground with a bruised nose and face. You damn guys, I'm going to kill you all. Blackbeard got up from the ground angrily, and then the rich dark energy and concussive power in his hand went towards the battle group. No, this idiot Blackbeard got into big trouble. Sengoku's expression was ugly. Sure enough, after Blackbeard's attack was added, everyone lost control in an instant, and everyone went berserk. Doflamingo's surroundings became a world of white lines, Hancock's surroundings became a world of stone, Levi's surroundings were filled with lightning, Aokiji's surroundings were already a world of ice, and Akainu's surroundings turned into a field of lava. Everyone has activated Devil Fruit ability, awakening the whole Marineford has become a mess. Damn Blackbeard, no-nos, look at what you did. At this moment, Sengoku's whole body became golden, and a huge shockwave enveloped the entire Blackbeard pirates. This was Sengoku's move. This was Sengoku's full blow. Under this blow, the entire Blackbeard pirates fell to the ground and remained motionless. Now the Whitebeard pirates and Levi's ship group are all withdrawing away from Marineford. Akainu is watching the pirates retreat, but they have no way to do anything about it. Blackbeard got up again, and his hands sent out a huge shockwave. Everything in Marineford began to crack. I am afraid that after this battle, the entire Marineford will not be able to be used again. Ha ha ha, this ability is so cool. Blackbeard's hands kept sending out waves of shockwaves, so the Marines kept staggering around. Pirates, check in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 230. This guy teaches really too arrogant. Levi frowned and looked at the arrogant Blackbeard and couldn't help but feel disgusted. This guy really relied too much on Devil Fruit. He thought that Devil Fruit was everything, but he didn't expect that he is truly strong only if he is strong. Devil Fruit has always been a support. Levi, I still remember the humiliation in the Drum Kingdom last time. Let's fight again. Blackbeard laughed wildly, and a light called ambition flashed in his eyes at this moment. Okay, Blackbeard, as you wish. Levi turned into a thunder and escaped from the battle circle. He did not expect that Blackbeard with Shock Fruit would actually expand to this extent. Among those now fighting, Gecko Moria of Shichibukai was defeated, and he was taken away by his subordinate Absalom. Look at my shockwave. Blackbeard laughed wildly and released Shock Fruit's crack at Levi. In his feeling, Shock Fruit's attack was invincible. Shock Fruit's crack was gradually approaching Levi. Blackbeard wanted to see Levi's panicked expression. But he was 810 disappointed. Levi's expression was as calm as ever. Blackbeard, remember, Devil Fruit only plays a supporting role for the truly strong. You have already put the cart before the horse. This is why you will never be the strongest. Your path has gone astray. Levi yelled at Blackbeard, and at the same time, a scene that made Blackbeard stunned appeared. As Levi's 7-star sword was unsheathed, he slashed at Blackbeard's shockwave. This slash was so brilliant that even Whitebeard's Shock Fruit could not stop it. Ah, it hurts me so much. Levi's sword wave passed by Blackbeard's body, and Blackbeard was rolling in pain. If the Shock Fruit hadn't distorted the space just now, that blow would have killed him. Such a level of slashing. Hawkeye was also shocked by this blow. Hawkeye had never fought with Levi. In his feeling, Levi's Devil Fruit ability and physical skills were terrifyingly strong. The sword was just an embellishment. He didn't expect that Levi's slashes were so powerful that he even trembled. Now he had a new opponent. Enough, Blackbeard. Levi's fist hit Blackbeard hard. Although Blackbeard was struggling to resist, everything about him was so fragile and vulnerable to Levi's fist. Boom. Blackbeard's stomach was directly punched through by Levi. Blackbeard's hands held Levi's arms tightly, and all shock fruit abilities were activated. However, except for shattering Levi's sleeves, Levi's body was completely intact. Of injuries. How could this man be so powerful? Everyone was shocked. They originally thought that Levi's strength was on par with Shanks, or even slightly inferior. Otherwise, he and Shanks were pirates at the same time. Shanks had become 4 emperors, but Levi returned to the Grand Line. In addition, the newspaper said that Levi and Shanks had several unknown duels, so they speculated that Levi lost the decisive battle with Shanks, so Levi returned to the Grand Line sadly, but now it seems this is all going terribly wrong. The monster Levi's body has become so powerful that it has exceeded the limit that everyone can understand. With this kind of strength, this guy is a real monster. Everyone sighed in their hearts. Bullet originally thought that his strength was already at the pinnacle of the sea, so he dared to show up here. He wanted to catch all the pirates except Marine, but seeing Levi's physique, his confidence was shaken. Although he did not have a life and death fight with Levi, he knew that his physical skills were now a joke under Levi. Even if there are 10,000 devil fruits, you are still a waste. Levi smiled at Blackbeard and said that because Ace and Hancock fought last time, Levi didn't kill him, and he also wanted to see how strong Blackbeard could be with 2 devil fruits. Now it seems, Blackbeard is still the same Blackbeard. Levi thinks too highly of him. Although he has shocking ambitions, he does not have the ability to match them. This is the root of Blackbeard's death. How can you be so strong? Blackbeard's eyes flashed with incredible light. People in this world generally have strong vitality, and Blackbeard is the best among them. Although he was punched through the stomach by Levi, he did not die immediately. Captain Shiryu of the Rain was the first to react. The thunderstorm in his hand was unsheathed and headed towards Levi. Shiryu had always aimed to surpass Hawkeye. He was also a swordsman. After he saw Levi use such a powerful move, he couldn't help it anymore. You haven't made any progress in so many years. You are really a waste, Shiryu. Levi didn't even look back. The 7-star sword in his hand struck at Shiryu. When Levi's 7-star sword struck down, a line went up to the sky and down. The ground slash appeared in front of Shiryu. Shiryu's pupils shrank suddenly and the hairs all over his body stood up. He felt the crisis of life and death from this slash. This slash was so brilliant that everyone around him was too excited to see it. Where's Shiryu? When the light dissipated, everyone in the Blackbeard pirates were now looking for traces of Shiryu. Now except for the hilt of his sword, Shiryu's entire person had disappeared. This guy is really a monster. Everyone was shocked. Although Shiryu was not the most powerful group of warriors in the sea, if he wanted to kill Shiryu with one move, he would only be seriously injured if Shiryu was on guard. It is impossible for everyone to kill him. Okay, Blackbeard, go on your way with peace of mind. Lightning light emerged from Levi's fist. This light was so dazzling that in the blink of an eye, Blackbeard's trace disappeared from the world. Levi, you are indeed the most terrifying monster in the sea. Sengoku secretly sighed in his heart. When Levi rose, Zanhuo had already predicted that the future world of pirates would belong to Levi's world, and now it has come true. Sengoku didn't expect that after Whitebeard's death, a Levi who was countless times more evil than Whitebeard would immediately arise, and he would be under the attention of the whole world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 231. This guy can't stay, The three Akainu admirals all had this thought in their minds. Levi's combat power was obviously much higher than the others. Now Levi's existence is a great threat to Marine's rule. The other Shishibukai had different expressions. Hawkeye looked at Levi with eager eyes, while Hancock's eyes were full of admiration. Levi was indeed her man, he was too powerful. Levi, swordsman Dracul Mihawk challenges you. Just when everyone was thinking differently, Hawkeye came to Levi. He was a pure swordsman. Now that he saw a swordsman here, how could he endure it? Now he gave Levi a swordsman salute directly, just like he did to Golden Lion back then. It was here that the Golden Lion, the world's greatest swordsman, lost to Hawkeye in a swordsman duel. Hawkeye became the world's greatest swordsman. Levi was a spectator at that time. Now here again, now Levi is the protagonist. Hawkeye pulled out the black knife from his back, stared at Levi and said, "I know your strength is far beyond my imagination, come and fight me." Levi picked up the seven-star sword with a serious face. He knew that Hawkeye was a pure swordsman, and he was also a swordsman who would never give up until he achieved his goal. He is an admirable person, and he decided to use all his strength against Hawkeye to defeat him. Levi made a hand gesture to signal Hawkeye to attack first. Hawkeye held the sword in his right hand. He carefully observed Levi's movements and did not attack directly. Hawkeye slowly raised his black sword. As the black sword was raised, a buzzing sound came from the blade. A slash flew towards Levi quickly, almost as soon as Hawkeye swung his sword, the slash arrived in front of Levi. What a fast knife! Everyone was shocked by Hawkeye's speed. Hawkeye's speed was too fast. They had never seen Hawkeye use this move before. Among them, Hancock is the most. Levi is her husband. It's not that she doesn't believe in Levi, it's just that the power of Hawkeye is deeply rooted in people's hearts, and she can't help but feel worried. The retreating Whitebeard pirates felt lucky that Hawkeye seemed to have Admiral's strength. If Hawkeye were to use all his strength, without the protection of experts, most of the Whitebeard pirates' captains would probably die in an instant. The seven-star sword in Levi's hand was unsheathed, and the moment he swung the sword, Hawkeye dragged the black knife down from the sky towards him, and the black knife danced into a will and cut towards him. The two bodies were intertwined and fighting together. Levi felt that Hawkeye's whole body had turned into a sword at this moment, and sword lights were crisscrossing the space. Hawkeye feels that Levi is very different from ordinary swordsmen. Swordsmen all pursue the ultimate sharpness, and Levi's moves are extreme compression, which explodes when the compression reaches the limit. It was the first time that Hawkeye saw this kind of swordsmanship, and he couldn't help but become even more excited. The whole sky was filled with sword strikes. It was the illusion caused by Hawkeye's extremely fast swing of the sword. The old moves had not yet been fired, but the new ones had already appeared. This is the speed sword style I used before I was 20 years old. I am invincible all over the world. Only 5 people in the world can defeat this move Hawkeye introduced to Levi. Really? Then I'm interested in giving it a try. Levi waved his right hand very fast, and he also produced slashes around his body like an eagle's eye. The slashes of the two men were shot out like machine gun bullets, and the slashes collided with each other and eventually cancelled each other out. Amazing! Hawkeye praised Levi, "You are the 6th person who can break my speed sword style. Come and see my sword skills again." Hawkeye slowly retracted his long sword, and he sighed, "Before I was 20 years old, I was called the best swordsman in the world. Therefore, I have always been very proud. When I met the enemy of my life, Red Curs. Shanks is a genius. He can compete with me just by practicing swordsmanship. I didn't accept it, so I spent 3 years in seclusion and learned the skill of swordsmanship. Use ultimate skills to offset the enemy's fighting spirit, and achieve the most glorious victory at the lowest cost. This is the secret of the technique style." "Did you defeat Shanks with your sword skills?" Levi asked curiously. Levi remembered that the red-haired Shanks had always been equal in strength to Hawkeye, and the two were both teachers and friends. Hawkeye's originally smooth movement suddenly faltered. It seemed that Levi had touched upon his sadness. "Please give me flowers, Zero." Hawkeye explained seriously, "After I created this genre, Shanks has already lost an arm in East Blue. I will not use my full strength on a disabled person. That is my shame." The two fought together again, and now everyone suddenly realized that their swords were like apprentices who had just entered the sword, and they were no longer as bright as before. Every move they made became extremely slow. The eyes of the two became more and more serious. They all felt that the enemy in front of them was their own kendo enemy. "Hawkeye, you also take on my strongest 10 moves," Levi said solemnly with his long sword standing on the ground. The 7-star sword Levi was holding was originally covered with pitch-black armament haki. At this moment, his haki slowly faded away, and finally gathered on the blade and turned into an undetectable fine black line. Levi raised the 7-star sword. The moment he raised the 7-star sword, a hole suddenly appeared in the clouds in the sky, and a beam of golden sunlight shone on Levi. At this moment, he was like a god. Hawkeye also laughed, and suddenly his expression became solemn. He raised his black knife over his head with both hands and slashed hard at Levi. A sword mark also appeared on the white clouds in the sky, and Hawkeye's blow seemed to have split the sky in half. The two actually took the same action. When Hawkeye slashed down, Levi also slashed down due to the traction of chi. When the two slashes collided, a dazzling light made people unable to look at it. At the same time, a strong wind was generated at the center of the attack, and the entire Marineford ruins were blown away like pieces of paper, as were some of the Marines with low cultivation levels. When everything fell to the ground, the entire sea returned to calm, as if nothing had happened, and the battle just now seemed to be an illusion. Levi and Hawkeye were still standing face to face, just like before. The eagle's eyes were fixed on his black knife. There were very minor damages on his blade. "I lost. The world's best swordsman is yours." Hawkeye unsheathed his sword and turned around to leave the group without hesitation. Pirates, check-in from Mariejois. Author, rock_candy_strawberry. Chapter 232. "Let me get rid of these annoying flies first." Levi looked at Blackbeard's subordinates who were running away. The corners of his mouth outlined a cruel arc, and then each of his slashes could take away one of Blackbeard's subordinates. Blackbeard's men originally thought that their escape from eternal hell would be the first step in their rise again, but they did not expect to encounter such a ruthless man. The Blackbeard pirates neither belong to Marine nor to pirates, so they all sit back and watch as the Blackbeard pirates are destroyed. The Blackbeard pirates may be the shortest-lived pirate group in history. They have only arrived in Marineford less than halfway. The group was wiped out in just a few hours, and all of Blackbeard's ideals and ambitions were out of the question. This Levi is too strong. Watching the members of the arrogant Blackbeard pirate group 190 fall one by one, people watching the live broadcast felt their legs were shaking constantly. These pirates all ran out from the 6th floor of Impel Down. The most vicious criminals, there are even many legends about them in the sea now. But now that they have fallen so easily, Levi looks more like a villain. "Okay, the flies are cleared, let's continue." After Levi killed everyone, he turned to look at the Marines again. "This guy, I'm afraid he's stronger than rocks back then." Garp frowned. Although he once chased 3 men who were pirate kings on the sea, he had never seen anyone as strong as Levi. The enemy, Levi's pinch power has surpassed their imagination, and this is an all-round transcendence. Not only Conqueror's haki, his swordsmanship, physical skills are all-round beyond everyone on this sea. There once was a lonely and powerful man on the sea. He was said to be able to fight against the entire Roger Pirates and the Golden Lion Pirates on his own. Although his physical skills were said to be the strongest in the world. But this guy was still exhausted by Marines' human sea tactics. The same was true for Bullet back then. Although Garp also wanted to use this tactic, for some reason, he always felt that it was a useless effort. This man is too scary. He is stronger than Kaido. Doflamingo looked at Levi, who was obsessed with him. He already had the intention to give up. He and Marine were in a cooperative relationship and he could not afford to do his best for Marine. Everyone, let the war continue. Now Levi showed his strength. He had not been able to make a strong move for a long time. Now that his whole body's aura was mobilized, the clouds in the sky were shaken in an instant. Thunder clouds gathered in the sky, and thunder flashed continuously in the sky, making Levi even more terrifying. Ha ha ha, Levi, you are such a good opponent. Bullet laughed. Since the death of Roger, the Pirate King, he has lost his goal, so he has a lot of power, but he doesn't know how to vent it, so he challenges famous pirates everywhere on the sea. In the end, he was finally blocked by the Marines. After an all-out attack by the Vice Admirals, he was finally caught in the impel down due to exhaustion of physical strength. After seeing Levi so strong, he felt that his life had a direction instantly. Propulsion, merge. Bullet let out a long laugh, and then the submarine he was riding uncovered his body like running water. After that, all Marines felt that the entire Marineford was shaking continuously. The people watching the live broadcast were shocked to realize that, throughout, Marineford's earth and rocks continued to gather in the direction of Bullet, and a beast that looked like a collection of earth and rocks continued to grow in size. Stop him quickly. Sengoku's eyes widened suddenly, and he remembered the battle against Bullet again. Bullet is a Paramecia fusion fruit user. All the battleships that Marine went to encircle and suppress were fused by Bullet, and under Bullet's men, they brought Marines. The horrific casualties were the reason why Bullet formed an army by himself. The weapons on the entire battlefield now are much stronger than those back then. In order to cope with the attack of the Whitebeard pirates, Marine deployed countless artillery arrays in Marineford this time. Now these cannons have been integrated into Bullet's body. If this guy is allowed to develop like this, the consequences may be disastrous. Marines, all retreat. Crane Vice Admiral said seriously to the Marines who were still standing here. She recalled the scene when the Golden Lion made a big fuss in Marineford. In that battle, the Golden Lion and Levi fought back to the death. Under this, the entire Marine suffered heavy casualties. The current scene is so similar to that of the past. Now it is a battle among the top Marines. The Marines can no longer interfere at all. Before the end of this war, the Marines will no longer be able to launch effective attacks. Okay, now we can only watch the battle between Marines' top brass. He took another look at the current lineup. Currently, Marines' effective combat power is only Marine 3 Admiral, as well as Sengoku and Garp. Among the Shishibukai, Hancock will definitely rebel. After all, she is Levi's wife. Doflamingo has always been cunning, and this guy is also a giant in the underground world. He will definitely not do anything to offend Marine, because he will not gain anything. Moria escaped, Hawkeye was defeated, Doflamingo paddled, Jinbei and Crocodile had rebelled, and the entire Shishibukai system had ceased to exist in name only. 8-foot Gokaianjio. Kizaru's eyes were constantly shining, and golden light spots were covering Bullet like a heavy rain. I won't let you interfere with him. 4.3 Levi laughed, and then the lightning on his fist shone, and a waterfall of lightning came from the sky, and Kizaru's golden flash was all offset. When Kizaru's golden flash was blocked, countless ice spears appeared behind him. These ice spears not only had strong penetrating power, but also had extremely low temperatures. Levi's lightning waterfall had been frozen in the blink of an eye. Layer of ice shell. Le Huari. As Levi's thoughts moved, the waterfall falling from the sky began to rotate crazily. With the movement of thunder and lightning, the temperature of the entire chop suddenly became higher. Then Aokiji's ice instantly collided with the thunder and lightning. It turned into streams of steam. The entire battlefield turned into a fog.